Multiple aggregations of the same column using pandasgroupby.agg. Is there a pandas built-in way to apply two different aggregating functions f1, f2 to the same column df returns, without having to call agg multiple times? Example dataframe. The syntactically wrong, but intuitively right, way to do it would be: obviously, Python doesn't allow duplicate keys. Is there any other manner for expressing the input to agg? Perhaps a list of tuples, column, function, would work better, to allow multiple functions applied to the same column? But agg seems like it only accepts a dictionary. Is there a workaround for this besides defining an auxiliary function that just applies both of the functions inside of it? How would this work with aggregation anyway?
As of the 20th of June 2022, the below is the accepted practice for aggregations. Below the fold included for historical versions of pandas. You can simply pass the functions as a list. Or as a dictionary.
TLDR, pandasgroupby.agg has a new, easier syntax for specifying 1. Aggregations on multiple columns, and 2. Multiple aggregations on a column. So, to do this for pandas is greater than or equal to 0.25, use or pandas is greater than or equal to 0.25, named aggregation. Pandas has changed the behavior of GroupBy.agg in favor of a more intuitive syntax for specifying named aggregations. See the 0.25 docs section on enhancements as well as relevant GitHub issues GH18366 and GH26512. From the documentation. To support column-specific aggregation with control over the output column names, pandas accepts the special syntax in GroupBy.agg, known as named aggregation, where the keywords are the output column names. The values are tuples whose first element is the column to select and the second element is the aggregation to apply to that column. Pandas provides the pandas.nameAgg tuple with the fields, column, aggfunc, to make it clearer what the arguments are. As usual, the aggregation can be a callable or a string alias. You can now pass a tuple via keyword arguments. The tuples follow the format of kname, aggfunc. Alternatively, you can use pd.nameAgg, essentially an emit tuple, which makes things more explicit. It is even simpler for series, just pass the aggfunc to a keyword argument. Lastly, if your column names aren't valid Python identifiers, use a dictionary with unpacking. pandas is lower than 0.25. In more recent versions of pandas leading up to 0.24, if using a dictionary for specifying column names for the aggregation output, you will get a future warning. Using a dictionary for renaming columns is deprecated in v0.20. On more recent versions of pandas, this can be specified more simply by passing a list of tuples. If specifying the functions this way, all functions for that column need to be specified as tuples of name, function, pairs. Or,
would something like this work?
If you have multiple columns that you need to apply the same multiple aggregation functions on, the simplest way, EMO, is to use a dictionary comprehension. The above results in a data frame with multi-index column. If a flat custom column names are desired, named aggregation is the way to go, as suggested in the other answers on here. As stated in the docs, the key should be the output column names and the value should be tuples, column, aggregation function, for named aggregations. Since there are multiple columns and multiple functions, this results in a nested structure. To flatten it into a single dictionary, you can either use collections.chainmap or a nested loop. Also, if you prefer the grouper column, dummy, as a column, not index, specify as _index equals false in GroupBy.
Do you want to see more? Please consider subscribing.